Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. This session focuses on global media and sociolinguistics. I hope and expect by the end of this session you would be able to relate global media with sociolinguistics, and you would also be able to understand the significance developments in sociolinguistics with reference to global media. Well, my dear students, when it comes to the significance of media in today's world, it cannot be undermined. The huge and the immense presence of media, electronic media, and especially of social media in our lives, in our world today, is something that cannot be denied. One of the direct influences that this presence of social media, new media, or electronic media have caused in relation to sociolinguistics is the emergence of a specific discipline within sociolinguistics, and this is what I'm going to focus on in this particular session, that is media linguistics. Yes, media linguistics has emerged as a subfield of sociolinguistics. It has grown so much through a few decades with such a rapid speed that it has taken the shape and form of a discipline in itself. Well, today if we look at the particular discipline of media linguistics, we can find cutting-edge research from variationist and interactional sociolinguistic point of views that is carried out by using the frameworks of media linguistics. There is media linguistics that is operating, looking at how media is playing its role in shaping, forming, and reshaping and reforming and reorienting different societies, especially from the linguistic perspective. A lot of research is also carried out in media linguistics from the perspectives of language ideology. In the 20th century, the creation of a lot of state nations in the world has changed the whole political scenario of the world. And, this state or nation ideology has emerged as something very strong, where, people of one nation are differentiated from the people of the other nation on certain basis by differentiating, for example, their languages. And in this case, most of the states have used their media for the propaganda purposes or for ideological purposes in order to generate certain linguistic and non-linguistic ideologies, in order to differentiate the ideologies of particular states from some other, states or the other nations that surround that particular nation, and thus, not only legalizing the presence of that nation state, but also, ensuring, its existing amongst other nations or amongst other states, as a different or as a separate identity or as a separate entity. And for that purpose, language especially is used as a tool by these state nations, which is controlled by, media. As far as this media linguistics as a discipline is concerned, it has various, areas that it covers. So one of the significant areas in which different researches are made from media linguistics point of view, it includes minority language studies. In all this onflux of globalization and in this, immense influence of the lingua francas like English or like Chinese or, like Spanish, for example, on the world, in all this global context, what is happening to the minority languages and what in turn is happening to the minority societies. This is one of the areas of study that has been undertaken under media linguistics, and it is seen how, the control of state over media or how, a lack of control, on the other hand, of state on social media or on new media, has a lot of influence, on the on the existence of these sociolinguistically, positioned as minorities, groups who are, weaker as compared to the other stronger groups in comparison with them. Media linguistics actually has evolved in various ways with the emergence of digital media, and I would here like to share with you one example from the Pakistani context. I would just, for example, talk about, how media censorship and how, media control is related to, different sociolinguistic perspectives. For example, if I hope you would have noticed this recent trend of creating, protest songs in Pakistan. You would notice there would be very young boys from colleges and universities who would make their own bands, the music bands, and they would sing and they would make music, and this would all be a protest music. Protest music is the kind of music that has protest poetry, kind of poetry that was written by, for example, Faiz Ahmed Faiz or by Jalib in the previous times. Today, that kind of political protest that is reflected through, this poetry is written by these young people, and then protest music is created, around that. And they make videos, and then they are, you would have seen some of them on television, for example, but many of them on the social media or on the new media, what we call, for example, on Facebook, etc. Now, what is the reality of that? When, for example, government finds that a particular, item that is presented, that is to be presented through media, it conflicts the state agenda, or it conflicts the ruler's agenda, it is not allowed to present it, and, censorship policy does not approve of it. Now, this is the case with the traditional media like television. So, in that case, in Pakistan, there is a tradition of presenting many protest songs. For example, I would just name one. Aloo Ande is a protest song. If you search for it on social media, you would find that. It was later on shown on television, but initially it was presented on Pakistani social media. Why? Because in order to avoid the state censorship policies. So, this is where, new media or the global media links with the sociolinguistic scenario, where, despite all those constraints, the political constraints, the governmental constraints, the institutional constraints of, for example, the traditional media, still, these voices, these ideas reach people because of the availability of the new media. So, this the example that I have given to you is one of the examples of how, it is used, and media linguistics has studied how, language is used in media for conveying these kind of messages, for example. So, the focal point of media linguistics is similar to sociolinguistics, that is the use of language in actual communicative situations. The specific focus of media linguistics, however, is on the media-specific processing of signs and other semiotic materialities. How different signs and different symbols are used on television. I would again give you an example. Whenever there is, for example, an address of the Prime Minister or of the President of, for example, of Pakistan on the Pakistani national television, what would you see is the presence of this flag of Pakistan that is displayed on the table or at the back of the background of the frame in which the speaker addresses the nation. Now, these kind of certain signs, how they are used, they are creating certain meaning-making processes, and media studies, media linguistics looks at these non-linguistic signs in relation to the linguistic signs, for example, the address of a prime minister or a president, as it is done in that backdrop. I would really appreciate if you think of your own contexts and try to further find out certain, semiotic materialities, both linguistic and non-linguistic, that are used on global media in relation to, creating certain meaning-making processes in the social context.